Take you back to the 2008 campaign where Iraq was a conversation, U.S. security was a conversation. You ran an ad, the 3 a.m. ad, which became quite famous. Let's play that for our
My gosh, viewers. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yes, well, it's a throwback Sunday here.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
So the question for you is, now you've been Secretary of State, Benghazi.
Right.
Was that your 3 a.m. phone call? And how well did you handle that crisis by the standard you raised in that ad?
Well, of course it was a crisis, and we lost 4 brave Americans, including, the person that I asked the president to send as ambassador, Chris Stevens. But we live in a dangerous world, and even our diplomats are at threat. And that goes all the way back to, for goodness sakes, taking over our embassy in Tehran, or the bombings of our embassy in Beirut when President Reagan was in charge. This is a dangerous world. And I think what we had to do during that period of time in trying to, protect our people after the attack on the consulate, getting them evacuated, not only working on what was going on in Libya, because remember, we had embassies that were under attack or threatened to attack by terrorist groups across North Africa, indeed across a much larger swath of the world. So I think, it was terribly tragic what happened. I immediately asked for an independent review, just like former secretaries of state did, and I made that public. And the only other person who did that was Secretary Albright after our embassies were bombed in Africa. So my view on this is we have to learn things, and we're always learning. We learned after Beirut. We learned after Tanzania and Kenya. We have learned after Benghazi, but we're not going to be able, in the United States, working out of, hermetically sealed tanks. We're going to have to be out in the world.
One more question on Benghazi. The charge is in this campaign that after it happened, there was a report inside the State Department and inside the government that this was a terrorist attack. But in what we heard from the government at the time and from you was an emphasis on this video that had created the attack. And so the charge is that there was a political pressure to make the case more about the video than to talk about terrorism.
Well, I just don't think that's fair, and I'm going to testify about this at the end of October before the committee looking into this. I think it's the 8th investigation that the Congress has conducted. There were 2 things going on simultaneously. I and others said that we were attacked. There was no doubt about that. That video, which was still spinning through the world, was being mentioned on social media. We had people climbing the walls at our embassy in Cairo even before the attack in Benghazi, and we had a lot of other attacks. I mean, I had to call the president of one of our neighboring countries, Tunis, to try to get in Tunis to get them to help protect our embassy. So I was worried about everything that was going on and how people were responding to that, from North Africa to Pakistan all the way to Indonesia.
So no political pressure to keep the story kind of a little more favorable to the administration?
Well, all I can tell you, I never felt any political pressure, or did I feel any political reason to do anything other than what we tried to do, which was to immediately deal with the problems that were coming at us.